Hey, I'm Colin with CGI Detailing, and today we're going to show you how to completely restore your Casita travel trailer. This particular one is a 2005 Casita. It is very oxidized. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the oxidation from the surface, and we're going to take you step by step through that so you can do it yourself at home if you want. And then we're going to protect it with our ceramic coating to ensure that this oxidation doesn't come back in the future. So first step is we need to wash this. So we're going to go ahead and get started on washing. We're going to take you through kind of the main steps of washing, where to start, what products to use to remove all the dirt and grime when you're prepping for ceramic coating. So let's go ahead and get into that. When you're washing your Casita, you're going to want to start on the roof. The main reason you want to start at the top is because you're going to rinse all that dirt and debris down to the bottom. So if you start at the bottom, you're just going to work your way around 2, maybe 3 times. So we want to kind of avoid that. That's going to save us a lot of time. So we always start with the roof, then move on to the top section and then the bottom section. Just saves us a lot of time. We don't have to work ourselves around the whole trailer several times. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to pressure wash everything. Using a pressure washer is safe. You just want to make sure, you know, if it's a gas pressure washer, you're staying pretty far away. But we use an electric pressure washer. It's not going to damage anything. You can get right up to the surface and it's going to be safe. Just be careful of stickers. That's the only thing I would worry about. But let's go ahead and get started on the roof. I'm going to pressure wash it, and then we're going to go ahead and do a pretty deep clean. We're going to rinse everything off, and then around the whole trailer, and then we'll soap it down and then do the rest of it. So let's do this. Now that we got the roof rinsed off, we're going to go ahead and wash the roof. I'm going to go ahead and soap everything down, and I'm going to use this brush. We're going to get all the staining off of here, make sure that there's nothing left, so that when we go ahead and compound and correct, we're on just gel coat with no dirt or debris or anything on the surface. So let's go ahead and get this really washed, and then we'll go ahead and pop down on the side and do that. Now that we got all the loose dirt and debris off the surface, now is a perfect time to do the wheels and the wheel wells. It's pretty important to do the wheels. All that brake dust starts to accumulate and corrode the wheels over time, so we just want to make sure we're getting all that off every single time we wash, just to increase the life expectancy of those wheels and keep them shinier for longer. So we're gonna go ahead, and what I'm using right now is just an all-purpose cleaner, nothing too terribly aggressive. You can get Simple Green, Purple Power, Super Clean, anything like that, that'll work. And then we're going to use our wheel brushes here just to get inside the barrels, make sure those are as clean as possible. And then right here is just a soft brush. We're going to go ahead and get around all these little nooks and crannies, get in there, clean that really well. Make sure we're getting all the dirt off these. And then the wheel well. And lastly, the tire. Now that we've got all that done, go ahead and give it a good rinse. There's a ton of stuck-on bugs on the front of the trailer. It's really bright out here too. So what we're gonna do is use our bug remover, and that's just gonna help get all those stuck-on bugs off the surface a lot easier. We're using 3D bug remover, kind of new. We also like PNS bug remover. All the links are on our website. You can find that in the description below for all the chemicals and stuff that we're using here. Essentially what this is going to do is it's going to save us time, because it's going to lift all those bugs right up off the surface. You're going to let that sit for approximately 30 seconds, and then you're just going to rinse it off with the pressure washer. Now that we've done that, we're finally ready to wash, so I'm going to go ahead and soap the trailer down, and then we're going to wash it. And once we wash it, we'll pull it into the shop, take a really good look at it. Okay, so now that we got the trailer pulled into the shop, we're gonna go ahead and start on the correction steps to remove the oxidation. Now, this trailer is a 2004, so it's seen a lot of sun, a lot of use, so it's very, very heavily oxidized. This isn't our typical process. However, this is a process we have used in the past to remove super heavy oxidation. So we're gonna be using Glidecoat's heavy cut compound. This is essentially sandpaper in a bottle. And then we're gonna be using that on a white wool pad on a rotary buffer. That's gonna give us the heaviest cut we could possibly get. That's gonna help us remove that massive layer of oxidation on the surface, so then we can go on to our next two steps, which are gonna help refine the surface to remove any leftover oxidation. So you're gonna wanna use a pretty liberal amount of this, especially given how bad this specific trailer is. So go ahead and start putting some on there. I'm gonna use about that much. I think that'll do this section. And then what I'm gonna do is spread it out on the surface. I think this is about what I want. And then we're gonna start on a relatively low speed. We're gonna work pretty slowly as we're going back and forth. And it's gonna cut a lot doing it like that, and then we're gonna bump the speed up and cut more on the last passes. So this is gonna be, I'm just gonna spread it out here real quick. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and bump the speed of the buffer up. That was just getting like a base layer of cutting done. So what this is gonna do is gonna cut quite a bit more. So let's go ahead and bump that up all the way.
This Casita has had over 20 years of use in sun exposure, allowing the oxidation to set in super deep. The longer gel coat oxidizes, the harder it's going to be to restore. So I kind of want to go over some things just to help anybody who's more of a DIY person really get a full understanding of what we're doing here. So we started off at a low speed just to make sure we kept all the heavy grits in the compound on the surface. So the first pass gave us the most amount of cut possible. After that, you saw that we changed the speed to get more cutting, but this time we want to heat up the surface at the same time as we're cutting. As a time reference, this particular section took us about 25 minutes, and that's what you're going to see in this video here is the full uncut version of that. In total, we spent roughly 14 to 15 hours doing just the correction steps, and that's with 2 people. In total, on the entire trailer, we spent roughly 20 hours. So if you're doing this alone, I would expect to spend about 40 or more hours. So set out at least 2 weekends to do this by yourself. Now, as you can see, we're doing 3 passes on this step. The third pass is essentially to ensure all of the compound has been thoroughly worked into the surface, and it helps bring out a little bit of shine. So we want to make sure we're always doing 3 passes on any of the steps that we do, just to make sure we always work in that compound.
Alright, so now that's done, I'm going to go ahead and wipe any residuals off, and then we're going to move on to the second step. So the second step is going to be 3M heavy. This is another really aggressive cutting compound. What this is going to do is going to remove all the scratches and swirls that this put in and any leftover oxidation that might be in there. Again, we're going to use a pretty liberal amount here. Make sure we're getting the best results possible. I'm going to work this just a little bit differently than the other compound. I'm going to hit that there. So this compound, we're gonna work right at the highest speed on this buffer. If you have a corded buffer, I'd probably go between 14 and 1800 for this. That's a really good sweet spot with a corded buffer, but since we're using cordless, they're a little less powerful, so we just like to ramp them up all the way. So we're gonna go full speed on this buffer here for the whole thing. We're gonna do 3 passes just like we did on the last one. So,
just like the first step, we want to make sure we're constantly moving our buffer and not stopping in one spot for too long to help avoid any damage. Now the 3M works a little bit different than the Glidecoat heavy compound. While it's super aggressive, it's also a little bit thicker of a compound, and that's going to help keep those abrasives on the surface. It does have some slight polishing effects to it as well. The more you work it in, the finer those abrasives are going to get, leaving you with a little bit shinier of a finished product as well.
Again, wipe off any wipe off any residuals. Coming along. And then the last step we are going to be using our dual action polisher with a microfiber pad. And then this compound is called Cut Max by a company called Sonax. Sometimes this doesn't look too well. We use 4 decent sized drops on there, if I can get it. Just about like that. And then what this is going to do is take out all the scratches and swirls from the 3M step that we just did. And that's going to shine up the surface and get it prepped, or get it where we want it for the ceramic coating that we're going to be putting on. So just like the last time, same exact 3 passes over it. I'm going to be running this on about 4,000 to 4,500, so pretty high speed. We want to heat that surface up just a little bit, and that's going to help correct this. So what you doing that.
The dual action polisher is a lot safer and more forgiving than the rotary is, because it spins and oscillates or throws itself at the same time, keeping it from sitting in one spot for too long and burning the gel coat. Slow movement speed is crucial with this step because it's removing the swirls and scratches or imperfections from the last step and preparing or giving us our final finish before we coat this Casita.
Again, now that we're done with that, we're going to remove any of the leftover compound. And take a look at that. So now that we removed all the oxidation off of this part, we are going to go ahead and repeat that on the entire trailer so that we can get it ready for the ceramic coating. And it's really hot out here today, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're not going to film anywhere else. And then we'll show you guys the whole ceramic coating process, how we prepped for that and how we do that. So let's get to doing this. So we just finished up compounding and correcting the entire Casita. So now we have to remove all the dust that's on the surface because the rotary creates so much dust. It's all in all the cracks and crevices. So right now I'm gonna spray that off, get all the dust off of there. Then we're gonna go ahead and pull it back in the shop and do the final prep before we put on the ceramic coating. And we'll show you guys exactly what that entails. So let's get to washing this, clean this off, and then we'll get to it. We got it pulled back in the shop, and now we're gonna do the final preparation step before we apply the ceramic coating. So what I got here is 2 brand new microfiber towels. And essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna douse one of them pretty heavily with alcohol. I'm just using isopropyl alcohol. What this is gonna do, it's gonna remove all of the oils from the surface so that we're working with perfectly fresh gel coat and we have nothing hindering the application of the ceramic coating. And essentially what we're gonna do here is just wipe the entire trailer with this isopropyl alcohol. Kind of just like this. And then go back over. And then we're gonna go around the entire trailer, do that, and then we're finally ready to apply the ceramic coating. We just got done alcohol wiping the entire trailer, so now we're finally ready to put on our ceramic coating. We are using Glidecoat Alpha ceramic coating. It's a 2-year ceramic coating for fiberglass trailers. It's specifically designed for gel coat, so boats, campers, fiberglass trailers, anything like that. And it's gonna give you 2 years of protection. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put 3 pretty good size dots on there. And I'm gonna work in a 2x2 or 4x4 section. We're inside of a shop, so we don't have to worry about any sun. If you're in direct sunlight, work in smaller sections. But I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the section. And we're gonna work in a crosshatch pattern. So we'll go up, down, and then left and right. And essentially what that's doing is it's making sure we cover the entire area without missing anything. I'm gonna set my mitt down, perfect spot right there. Make sure this is a brand new microfiber towel. When you're working with coatings, you wanna make sure that you're not using anything that has any greases on it. So brand new microfiber towels are the way to go. Let this sit for just a second and then go ahead and wipe it off. You want to make sure you're doing a really thorough job with this because you don't want any high spots on the surface. It's not going to hurt it, it just won't look as good. All right, now that we got that section coated, we're going to go ahead and work on the rest of the trailer, and we do 2 coats of this. So we're going to coat the whole trailer once, and then we're going to go ahead and do it one more time after that. This is a 2-coat coating, especially on fiberglass. You're going to want to make sure you're doing the 2 coats, or you might not get the full 2 years out of it. So we'll go ahead and work on that, and then we'll show you guys the finished product afterwards. So let's get back to work.
As you can see, this 2004 Casita looks absolutely amazing. Amazon links to everything we used in this video are on our website under the Detailing Tools tab, which will be in the description below. If you're interested in getting your Casita ceramic coated, visit our website and fill out our contact form. All the pricing is on our website under the Casita Travel Trailer tab, so go ahead and check that out. We really hope you guys enjoyed this video. We really hope it was informative. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and subscribe. We plan to release some more and hopefully bring out some really good content for everybody in the future. Thanks for watching.